The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm Rob Deininger, and I'm here with Jack Degrew, and we are talking Yankees baseball. How you doing, Jack?
Good, Robert. Getting ready for another Yankee season. Lots to look forward to.
That's right. It's spring training has started, and Yankees kick off their spring training tomorrow.
Yeah, they're over in Clearwater, and home opening down here in Tampa Sunday, and I got some tickets for some of the games, and really looking forward to seeing some of the younger prospects.
Yeah, and Jason Deininger, their number 2 rated prospect, makes his debut tomorrow. That should be interesting because he went from single A all the way up to double A last year, and from what Aaron Boone said, he improved at all phases, and through all levels. I think he batted .273 last year total.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does it. Does in camp with facing some big league pitchers, and I'm sure he'll get some at bats, and we'll see Volpe and Trey Sweeney, and so it should be a fun spring.
Yeah, because Dominguez, he just turned 20, and Aaron Boone said he got better with the competition. As the competition got better, he got better. And Volpe is another one who keeps getting praise from everyone, including Willie Randolph says he reminds him of another Derek Jeter and Don Mattingly, a can't miss player.
Yeah, well that's some high praise because Willie was a heck of a player, and he's an excellent baseball man. So I'm sure he's down here working with Volpe. So he's a good mentor.
Yeah, and Willie, he played with Mattingly. He was a coach when Derek came up, and for him to say he reminds him of a Jeter and a Mattingly that can't miss. That's definitely high praise.
Yeah, like I keep saying, it'll be fun to see them see Volpe in game action. Down here in the spring, I'm sure he'll get an opportunity all spring, but mostly. The first couple of weeks, I'm sure he'll be playing a lot. So, that's something, the fans back home get a chance to see him on the YES Network.
Yeah, we're basically running the same team out we had from last year with a few, additions and subtractions, but otherwise it's the same team and same division. The Yankees are favored to win. We got, Garrett Cole's our ace, but behind him we got Carlos Rondon, who we signed in the off season. Severino, they're saying, looks great so far in camp, and Domingo Germán, Nestor Cortez. So we got a decent pitching staff. Our bullpen's the question mark with who's going to be the closer.
Yeah, the starting pitchers. Cole will be good, and Rodon is a great acquisition, and the only question is, I think Nestor Cortez is hurt. We lost Frankie Montas till maybe September, and you got to see if Michael King, who they've been high on, and they say he looks good in the spring, and Clark Schmidt, you hope he can take the next step. So
yeah,
the pitching should be good. There should be no problem with the starting pitching.
Yeah, our bullpen, we lost Chad Green in the off season. Britton's gone and Chapman's gone. So we got, three spots, and 3 of those pitchers like King, Loizica and Holmes, they're going to have to step up to fill those spots. You saw what they could do last year, so hopefully they can continue that.
Yeah. Well, I think Chad Green went to Toronto, and he might not be available till August or September. Britton's coming off, Tommy John, so he might not be effective. Who knows how long that'll take. And, Chapman went to the Royals.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think he wants to close out there. Good luck. I hope if they ever get a lead late in the game.
Yeah.
But, Chapman was on the downswing, so that's not really a big a hit as it would have been maybe 3 years ago.
And 2 of the position players that the Yankees kind of need to have bounce-back years is going to be Donaldson at third, and if Hicks gets the starting job in left, those two guys need to have better years than they did last year.
Yeah, the thing with Donaldson, I think he'll be on a short leash this year because the thing to watch in spring training if he's getting around on fastballs.
Yeah.
Because if they're struggling earlier in the year and he's not hitting, you got other options. You got LeMahieu and you got Cabrera and there's a couple things you can do. Peraza, so if he don't step it up, he might not get much playing time. And I think Hicks, they're just going to try to get out what they can out of him, and maybe there'll be some mid-season moves.
Yeah, I think Hicks. I think I read he has 3 years and $30 million left on his contract.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he's hard to move.
Yeah.
Because of the contract, they'll have to eat some of the money. I mean, if he plays like he does last year and the team is going well, same with Donaldson, you can deal with that. But if they're struggling and they're not getting production from those two positions, well then, you might have to think of making some moves, or giving the young kids a chance.
Yeah, Boone said he was open to the idea of, playing Judge in left field at Yankee Stadium to get, Stanton in at right field, but they could also move Bader to left and put Judge in center to get Stanton in at Yankee Stadium, if they had to. Yeah,
so I mean, with Hicks, it's not that big of a deal because, like you just said, there's other there's other options they can do.
Yeah. And hopefully LeMahieu too has a bounce back year. I know last year he battled injuries for all the second half, and he missed the last month of the season and the postseason. So having him at the top of the lineup healthy, he sets the table, him and Judge.
Yeah, I know he's been down here for a while, in Tampa, getting ready for the season. They said so far he looks really good, but it's still early. It's still spring training, so everybody looks good in spring training, or they wouldn't be in the big leagues. But hopefully he can regain his stroke because the last 2 years have been kind of a disappointment. Yeah,
because I mean, with LeMahieu leading off, you got Judge second, and then Rizzo batting third, and with no shift this year, I mean, Rizzo could have a really good year, especially being, he'll have a lot more hits, being able to pull the ball and not have to worry about three guys in the, right side of the infield, and then Stanton fourth and Glaber fifth. I mean, they got a good, their offense is good, and I think the restrictions on the shift is going to, allow us to have a really good year offensively. I think guys can just, hit and not have to worry about trying to hit home runs all the time.
Yeah, that's the big thing, changing your approach. It's home runs or nothing. But with the Yankees, that's what that's why they've been so good for so long, because they hit home runs in the regular season. Yeah,
and I think for guys like Gleyber Torres, who has a good swing, having him trying to hit home runs, it messes up his swing a lot. You can see he gets home run happy when he gets hot, and then he gets cold again because he's trying to hit home runs. I think if a guy like him can just go up there and hit to all fields, it's going to do him good.
Yeah, I mean, last year when he hit really well, he was using the whole field. And then when they had, they got in that bad slump in July or August, and they had some injuries, he was starting to hit home runs. And then, that's when his production started to plummet. When they got, the big bats, when Stanton come back and guys like that, he hit a lot better.
It's definitely going to be interesting because with no shift now, the runs are going to go up, and and managers have been used to going to the bullpen so early in games. You're not going to really be able to do that unless you want to burn through your bullpen before the All-Star break. So it's going to be interesting to see how far they let some of these starters go if the game gets out of hand early.
Yeah, I mean, we see that a lot with the Yankees. The starters only go early in the year. Well, this year at least you had a regular off season,
Yeah.
You didn't have, the COVID and all the other nonsense going on. So at least they were able to, have a regular off season, and pitchers were able to get in shape with their arms and everything. But we've seen that in previous seasons. By August, the relievers are burned out.
Yeah. Yeah, and they got 3 big new rules, and that's the pitch clock for pitchers, 15 seconds to throw to home plate without runners on base, and they get 20 seconds with runners on base. And also the shift's gone, and also the bases are bigger.
Well, we'll see in spring training. I think with the pitch count now on a pickoff, you can only throw over twice.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right too. You can only throw over to first base twice with the runner on before it's called a balk. So if you throw 3 times with the runner on, it's going to be a balk. And
another thing, if say he's getting ready to throw and it's at 8 seconds and he steps off the rubber, it goes back to 15.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, and apparently they've been doing this in the minor leagues, and stolen bases went up because they take advantage of that. If you throw over 2 times, knowing you can't throw over again, they take that big lead. They get a good jump. So I wonder if stolen bases will go up a 2 in the major league level.
Yeah, and I mean with the bases, being 3 inches, wider.
Yeah.
Runner goes to slide around a tag, or he's got more base to grab, or back to pick off attempt. So the bang plays at first, that could favor the runner now.
Yeah, it's going to be. I tell you, it's going to be an interesting year. I mean, for teams that are so heavily analytical, trying to hit home runs, considering a strikeout better than a grounder. It's going to be interesting to see how teams, change up their philosophy or their approach, especially teams like the Yankees and Rays who live on home runs. Yeah.
I don't know if the Yankees are going to, ever change. I think, in Yankee Stadium, it's a home run hitter's park, and that's what's kept them successful for, going on 20 years is hitting the home run. So hopefully with these younger guys, they might be able to use the whole field. But I think you've seen.
Yeah, I'd like to see them take advantage of some of these rules.
Yeah, they seem there's always new rules, and I mean, I don't know if you've seen this. I just remembered they might eliminate the American and the National League.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about this. That'd be a little insane. I don't know if I could watch. I don't think I could watch.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things they were talking about was the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mets, and the Phillies being in the same division.
I couldn't stand that. I'm old school though. I mean, maybe some of the I don't know. I don't know. I can't see that, but I've heard it, and they're actually thinking and talking about it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you eliminate the American and the National League, I mean, then I think a lot of the old timers are just going to say to hell with this.
Yeah, I mean, they've been trying to bring in a younger crowd, but their main audience is still people in our age. It's older people that still watch baseball on the norm. They've had trouble bringing in a younger crowd.
Well, I mean, one of the things is, when people years ago when people grew up, everybody played a form of baseball. Either it was softball, or you played wiffle ball, or you threw the ball against the walls, or you hit grounders, you hit off a tee, or so you played something. But I think the newer generation, they don't play sports. They look at it on their phone. Yeah, or they play video games like Madden. Baseball isn't something they find that interesting compared to a game of Madden. It's so popular. But you're right. I grew up playing stickball and wiffle ball. The kids don't get outside as much as I did when I was younger. They got all different kind of little things to play with now, gadgets. Yeah, and I think unfortunately, you go to the parks or either the parks are locked or they don't know how to organize a game.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I like Mattingly's charity so much. He tries to provide, equipment and stuff to cities and towns that have teams or want teams. He's trying to make baseball accessible to people. I think they need to do that more for kids, is build more parks and have more, push to get kids involved.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just my worthless opinion. I think in, maybe 5, 10, 15 years, you're not going to see a lot of American players.
No, I mean, they go overseas and then to South America and to the islands, the Dominicans. I mean, it's more foreign players coming into the league than you see kids from America, and that was never the case.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, I mean, why if you're coming up, you can go to college, you can play close to home, and you get an education, you can play baseball instead of going to the minor leagues and struggling for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in other countries, that's their way out.
Yeah, and they can sign these kids, like in the Dominican, when they're 14, 15 years old, they can sign them a lot younger and a lot, compared to kids here in America. You can't talk to them unless they, are out of high school and declare for the draft. So,
it'll be, I mean, when I was down by the Yankees, I mean, we're going back, 6, 8 years. I could see it then. I mean, most of the players in the Gulf Coast League or in the lower minor leagues, they were Spanish, Dominican, Puerto Rican, or and that's just the way it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think every team, they have translators now. They all have all their players. It's crazy.
Well, I think now, I mean, like I say, why did a kid want to come out of high school?
Yeah,
and go to a small town? I mean, say you're down here in Florida. I mean, you're going to play your games at 10, 12 and during the day. It's 102 degrees in the sun.
Yeah.
Heat, humidity. It's not an easy life. It's a grind, and you really got to want to do it.
Yeah, I mean it is, and you're not traveling in luxury like the major league players. You're on a bus, and not a good bus at that. And going from town to town, cheap motel to cheap motel. It's a grind.
Yeah, and they don't really pay them much. I mean, it's gotten better, and so if you're in Venezuela or whatever, you come over and you got a place to stay and you make a $400 or $500 a month. You think you're living high on the hog, but if you're from America, you realize this is not an easy life.
Yeah, if you ever watch the Yankees have this show called Homegrown Pinstripes or something like that, where they follow the kids in the minors. Some of these kids, there are people in the town that put them up for the season, because they don't have the money to have their own place, so they have to stay with people willing to put them up. And there's 3 or 4 players sharing a bedroom in a house with people they don't really know. It's a grind.
Well, I know when I was down, when I used to live like right across the street from the Yankees, there was Harbor Pond. Together, to pay the rent.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I'm sure it hasn't changed for the better in 10 years.
Yeah, and getting back to the big league roster, the Yankees, they're picked to win the East this year, and I mean, a lot of, I guess, sportsbook and draft teams both have Toronto finishing second, and the Red Sox behind them, followed by the Orioles. But it looks like it does. I think the Yankees, this is their division to lose again. Oh, I forgot about the Rays. I think the Rays were third, the Red Sox fourth.
Yeah, I think the big challenge, I mean, the Orioles are going to be improved, and the Rays always seem to put together a good team. I think Toronto, you have to watch out for Toronto.
Yeah, they got that. They got a young staff. Their pitching is better. I mean, they could with the rules change. They could be a team though to really watch this year. Especially
yeah, they got a lot of great young talent, and they're only going to get better with with experience.
Yeah, and I forget who their starting pitching is, but I know they have a really good starting staff. So, the Toronto Blue Jays, I liked them last year, but I like them even more this year to at least surprise some people.
Yeah, another thing, Robert, just trying to find some things to talk about is check out the schedule this year.
Oh, yeah, I haven't even really taken a look at it.
There's a lot of interleague games.
How many games do they play at the Mets? The same amount, or are they upping it a little bit?
I think what they're doing this year is every team's going to play every team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and pull up their schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really, looked at it too much, but I know. Well, look, the Yankees are open up against the Giants.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, they're gonna play 4 Subway Series against the Mets. So they're gonna have 4 series with the Mets. I think they only played them twice, 2 series last year.
Yeah, so I mean, that could be the way things are going.
Yeah.
Is you're gonna eventually you might see 8 divisions and no more American and National League.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna play 64 total interleague games. Wow. Yeah, and they open the season against San Francisco. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4-game series with the Mets, good. So it's 2 series at Citi Field and 2 at the Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of people are picking the Mets to finish second again in their division. I like Buck Showalter. I hope the Mets have a better season than they did last year.
Yeah, well, they made that. They were getting Correa, or was it who was it?
Yeah, they were
everybody. I think a couple of the Giants were getting him, and then the Mets, and then he failed the physical, and then he went back to the Twins. Yeah,
the Giants, they want to sign him, and then they failed the physical. The Mets signed him, he failed the physical, and then neither the Mets or the Giants wanted to take a chance on him. I guess he has a plate in his ankle, or his foot or ankle, or something like that, and they're worried about the, long-term effects it's going to have on him. But, I mean, he's played he doesn't miss time. It's not like he's hurt when he's playing. So, I mean, I could see them not want to take a chance, but he's a good player if he's healthy.
Yeah.
He stays healthy.
Especially long-term. And then, the Mets made a great pickup with Verlander. Yeah.
DeGrom went to the Rangers, but DeGrom, I think, only pitched 12 games or only had 12 decisions last year. He doesn't play a whole season. I mean, DeGrom's out a lot.
Yeah, that was a big thing with him. I mean, he's a tremendous pitcher, but if he's not on the mound that much, I mean, it's hard to justify giving him all that money.
Yeah, I'm looking at their spring training schedule. The Yankees they play Philly tomorrow, but they play a split squad, Atlanta and Toronto on Sunday, and Detroit Monday, Tampa Tuesday, and then they're on ESPN Wednesday against Washington. So that's to be the first time I'll be able to get a look at them on TV.
I seen the schedule, Robert. I think the Yes Network is going to televise Sunday, Monday, and Friday.
Okay.
Coming.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're playing. Yeah, I'm playing a lot of National League teams this spring training.
Yeah, they don't like to travel too much, and they have a tendency to always play the Phillies.
Yeah, in Atlanta.
Yeah, the Phillies got a great ballpark. I mean, they're like 20 miles away, and they play the Pirates a lot. So
yeah,
they've been doing that for a while.
And we were talking off air about Luke Voigt was signed by the Brewers on a minor league deal, and so it looks like he's got to fight to make the roster. You know, I thought he, was productive last year with the two teams he played for, but it looks like he's got to fight his way back onto a major league roster.
Yeah, it's surprising. I mean, I think the last 3 years he's had over 20 home runs a year. I mean, he's productive. He hits home runs. He knocks in some runs. He gets on base via the walk. He's average defensively, but he's, you figured at least he'd be in, sign a major league contract.
Yeah, I wonder if, the lack of a shift and teams maybe not focusing on home runs as much, maybe it hurt him a little bit. I don't know, because, I mean, you think a guy like him would be someone would want him at least off the bench. I mean, the guy's a big guy, he can hit the ball.
Yes, it's hard to say, when you don't see guys play a lot. We follow the Yankees and we see those guys, those players a lot. But on other teams, you really don't know unless you see them all the time.
Yeah. So what are you looking for the most out of spring training? Any particular player or players that you're going to be looking at?
Well, it's just the young guys. See Volpe, Peraza, Cabrera, Dominguez, Sweeney, a couple of the pitchers. See how Donaldson looks and see how Hicks looks. So there's a lot to look at.
Yeah.
So it's just not like the old boring spring training because we're gonna see just the young players. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I also want to see Davy Garcia, see if maybe he can turn things around, because at one point he was a highly touted prospect, and the last couple of years have been brutal for him.
Yeah, they changed his mechanics, and it didn't go too well.
No, so he's the guy I want to look at, and I'm interested to see if Hicks can, Hicks has the edge, of getting the starting left fielder's job. I want to see if someone like Oswaldo Cabrera can, fight him for it, or at least make it interesting, and Jason Dominguez and Volpe, I want to get a look at those guys, but that left field battle is something I want to look at, because I'm not high on Hicks. I don't think he can turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, when he signed the contract, he had the 27 homers, 79 RBIs. Looked like he was coming on. He was a heck of an outfielder. He had a big, strong arm, and with the injuries and stuff, he's really, he's really regressed.
Yeah, I mean, he never finishes a full season. I think he barely plays 80 games a year. His career batting average has dipped down to 230. I mean, it just seems like he's always hurt. He's always struggling, and every year Cash was saying, well, he's healthy, he's finally healthy, and he's going to have a bounce back year. It's the same thing he said the year before and the year before that, and he said it again this off season. He's finally healthy, and we're expecting a big year out of him. So I mean, I hope we get a big year out of him, but it's something I'm going to be paying attention to see.
Yeah, I mean, Yankee fans, we have our doubts.
Yeah, and same thing with Donaldson. Donaldson looked like a shell of himself last year, and Aaron Boone and everybody say they expect a big year out of him, a bounce back year. So it's something else to look at.
Well, you can tell in spring training and early in the season. I mean, if he's not getting around on the fastball, his days in the major leagues will be coming to an end. Yeah,
and I tell you, Luis Severino looked great when he, at the end of last year when he came back from the injury. I mean, if he could stay healthy a full season, I think he can have a hell of a year.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, Robert, he wanted to play in the World Baseball Classic. And the
really?
Yankees, the Yankees told him no.
Oh, wow. I guess they feel he's a vital part, and they don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, I mean, if they get to the finals and he's starting, you're pitching for your country, and okay, well, maybe we'll let him go.
Yeah.
10 or 20 more pitches. So he's been hurt too much, so they didn't want to take that chance.
Wow. I figure we'll talk next week, and we'll have at least a bunch of games under our belt. We'll have a lot more to talk about, especially some of these young kids, and a lot more what we see from some of the veterans.
Yeah, just let me throw this one thing in, Robert, before I forget.
Yeah.
It's about the Tampa Bay Rays. When it's a Yankee show, well, I'll just.
Oh yeah.
There was a investor who's going to renovate the downtown area here in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Channel Side, Ybor City, and there was no mention of putting the ballpark there.
Really?
and just this has all happened just the past week.
Yeah.
And St. Pete has said, they want to do something with the Rays, fix up the ballpark, and they haven't heard anything back from the Rays. So I think, the Rays are going to move.
Yeah, I mean, they have to tarp their upper deck because no one sits up there, so they have to tarp. I mean, they have a hard time drawing fans, right? I mean, it's been brutal for years now.
And I mean, they had their spring training complex was ruined by the hurricane last September, so they're going to play a lot of their games. They're going to play their home exhibition games in Tropicana Field. I know my buddy Bob and me might go over for a game, but I think this they've been doomed for 20 years. This has been going on for 20 years. So I think the best thing is they're just going to move.
Yeah, I mean, they can't be bringing in much money. They can't be making that much money as an organization.
No, but that's the thing that's just come out this week. They were going to, this one, he's paid, I don't know, billions of dollars. They're going to fix up the downtown area, and there was no mention of the ballpark. So I think that's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah, and wasn't it like a year ago or 2 years ago where they wanted to play half their games somewhere else? Was that due to COVID or just for financial reasons?
Financial. They wanted to go to Montreal, play half a year in Montreal and half a year down here, which is half-assed,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they got 52 games versus division opponents, 64 games versus rest of the league, and over almost 50 games in interleague play, or 64 games interleague play. And they just showed that statistic on Major League Network.
Yeah. I think, Robert, we're going to see the end of the American National League in maybe as soon as next year or in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to really shake things up and try to, I don't know, I guess draw more fans in. But it's something that I could see happening.
Well, the owners only care about making money, and they're not really baseball people. So
yeah, and whatever money, if they can bring in more money on TV by doing that, they'll do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. If you get more playoff teams, and so that's just the way it is. And if you want to follow the sport, you got to put up with it. I mean, personally, I've lost a lot of interest.
Yeah.
But, as I have in other sports. So. Yeah.
But, I mean, even to go to a game, we've talked about this for years now. It's just too expensive to go to a game anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like we talked about it last year, Yankee Stadium, it seems like the new one, they built more for the upper class than for the common fan,
Well, that's what it's becoming, It's just, it's not for everybody. And when people, feel left out, you're not going to care about something when it doesn't care about you, and people, they're not going to get angry about it. They're just not going to care anymore. They just won't even like it. So that's what could happen, and I think it will happen.
Spring training Yankees will be on Sunday on Major League Network against the Blue Jays. They're going to show the game Sunday on MLB Network at 1:00.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Robert. When I go to the games in the spring, it's still a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Once you see the ballpark and you remember the old enthusiasm, all the other nonsense leaves it. So it's still a great game, but they're trying to ruin it.
Yeah. I can always remember being a kid and going into Yankee Stadium at, on the third base side and just feeling like you're right on the right there on the field. It's still a memory I'll never forget.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I say, I remember going to the old stadium, and you walk up. You go up the corridors. You walk up and in and out, and then you walk out and see the green grass. And the smell of the hot dogs and the smell of the urine and the guy going, Yankee yearbook, Yankee program. So, that's still great memories. Manny's baseball land and parking the car by. So that's why you love baseball.
Yeah, and when walking in towards on that third base side and you look out, to right field, you just see that wall of seats going up. It was so cool. It just looked like a wall of seats going straight up into the air.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, same time next week, Jack. We'll have a lot more to talk about. Baseball will be underway, and we'll have an idea of what some of these guys look like. Yep,
it'll be fun. So looking forward to it. It's always a pleasure, Robert.
Oh, likewise. Okay, until next Friday. This is Rob and Jack. We'll see you later.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices, and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.